Hello and welcome. My name is Joe Valenti. I'm the founder of SmartpenCentral. We're the principal supplier of Livescribe products in Canada. We've been involved with Livescribe and all things related to smart pens for nearly 11 years, 12 years now. We know a lot about the product, and I'm here to demonstrate that I know a little bit about the brand new product, and I'm referring, of course, to the new version of the Echo, the Livescribe Echo 2. We've just got our hands on a demo unit, and we're very pleased to talk to you about it today. A couple of things to get started. I guess two pieces of good news and then one piece of not so good news. The first piece of good news I've already told you. It's real, it's here, it's not vaporware, it's an actual thing. I'm holding it in my hand, and it will soon be available. The second piece of good news is that honestly, it's great. If I were to give you one piece of news here, it is very much like the previous generation of Echo. In fact, all the things that we all knew and loved about the first version of the Echo that was introduced all the way back in 2010, 2011, the Echo 2 really retains all the things that were positive about the Echo and improved upon all those things upon which some improvement was needed. But such elements as an integrated speaker and microphone, a display, USB port, although this is a USB-C port, we'll talk about that later, that removable ink cartridge, and of course the camera at the end that syncs to Livescribe paper and lets you take notes and work completely independently of any other device. All that is in here, and we're going to talk about that in the video, but it really is terrific. It works well. And in addition, not in this video, but in another video, we're going to talk about its additional capability that wasn't available in the Echo, the first version of the Echo. The Echo 2 makes it possible to communicate via Bluetooth as well as by the USB cable that we've known and loved as users of Echo in the past. So in some sense, not perfectly correct to say that it combines all the elements of the Symphony and the Echo. That's not quite correct, but close to it. In a single device, you have both that asynchronous after the fact USB connection as well as a synchronous connection with Bluetooth. So really very exciting. The third piece of news, as I say, is not quite as positive, and that is just about availability. It had been hoped now a long time ago that as far back as March of 2020, this new product would be available around then. And of course, the pandemic occurred, and since then, as we all know, worldwide supply chain issues, chip shortages, all those kinds of things definitely delayed it. And most recently, we've been hoping to have our hands on the product that we'd be able to ship to you, our customers, as early as early February, later February, mid-March. I'm recording this on the 24th of March, and it's looking now like it'll be around mid-April by the time we have a product that we can ship to you. But I offer the caveat, if the data slipped a couple of times already, is it possible that it goes from mid-April to mid-May? I mean, of course it is, and not what we're expecting at the moment, but there's going to be some flexibility required. The truth of the matter, I'm sure, I don't have insider information, but I can easily imagine that many of those same constraints about supply chains and availability and manufacturing capacity are very much at what are issue here. Livescribe, as you may know, is owned by a parent company called Anoto. They've been around a long time. They've been manufacturing products like these for a long time. They know what they're doing. They're a very competent outfit, and I have every expectation that if anybody can do it, they can, and it'll be available when it's available. So we invite you at this point in time to be patient. But as I say, it's real, it's great, and it's coming. So there we go. That's the first important message I want to communicate. So the next thing I want to communicate to you is a little bit about what's in the box when you get yours in the next little while. This is the box that my pen came in. The instructions are provided here in English, French, and German. There wasn't any Spanish, which I found a little curious. On the back here, you'll see a pen ID, and that is the serial number for the pen, so you can take note of that. There's also a Bluetooth address and the part number APX00043. And inside the box, what you're going to find are four key elements. Of course, the pen itself, that works, as I say, very well. You'll have a USB cable. This, importantly, is a USB-C cable. Back in 2010, the standard that was used on Android phones and everything else was a micro USB connector. That's the kind of longer on one end, shorter on the other, kind of flat connector that went in the top of the old Echo. Today, all Android phones use a USB-C connector. I'm delighted to see that the Echo Pen is using that higher data capacity, more robust cable as well. It is fair to say the one that comes in the box is pretty short. It might be 6 inches. If you're using a laptop and your pen is lying right there beside you, that would totally do the job. You're totally good. In my case, I use a desktop PC at a workstation at my office, and so it suited me to get a longer cable. We're going to be selling that at SmartpenCentral too in a couple of different lengths. I had to go to my local computer store. It was whatever, $8, $10 to get a 5-footer, and that's working fine for me. So yes, you get your pen, you get USB cable. I mentioned already there's an ink cartridge in the pen, and you get a second one as well. So you've got 2 ink cartridges altogether. And you've got a little set of 5 stickers. These are stickers upon which you will tap to synchronize or to turn on the Bluetooth capability in the pen. So I guess the idea here is you're going to put these into your Livescribe notebooks, and it just makes it easy to kind of turn it on. I do kind of wonder what happens when you use up these 5 stickers. Are you going to move them, etc.? The good news is, for the most part, you don't need them, because all the most recent versions of Livescribe paper do include on the inside front cover the same little icon that you tap for device pairing, and that's the moment at which I'll mention the last item that's in your box, and that's the little notebook of sorts, the Smartpaper it's called, that comes inside the box. So and it's got, small as it may be, it does have 50 little pages in it, and it works. So it's absolutely fair to say that Livescribe is providing you in the box everything you need to get going, because you've got your pen, your paper, 2 ink cartridges, the USB cable, and that set of stickers. And absolutely true to say that everything you need is in the box. That's true. That having been said, I'll just direct you now to our website, in which we offer the pen on its own. So that's exactly what you're getting here. But we also offer, if you go into the bundle section, you'll see there's an area here where you can choose the large paper bundle of the Echo 2, and that includes a set of notebooks, an extra set of ink cartridges, as well as a carrying case. For any practical use, it's fair to say that the little notebook is not very practical. You're certainly going to need some more paper. You're definitely going to need some more ink. So my advice to just about anybody is invest in the bundle. That having been said, the ink cartridges that are used in the Echo 2 are the same as those used in the previous generation Echo. So if you've got some around and they haven't dried out, then yep, you could absolutely use them. And it's exactly the same paper that was used before is used now. So any inventory you have of your own for the ink and paper, you can absolutely continue to use them. And that carrying case, if you purchased from us before, it's the same carrying case that you have known and loved. So there you go. So let's next, now that we've identified those 3 pieces of news, we've taken a look at what's in the box, let's run a little experiment and write something in a notebook. So to do that, we're going to take our pen, of course. We're going to make sure it's turned on as it is. We're going to take that sample paper that came in the box, and I'm going to turn it to the appropriate spot. On this paper, you have all the usual controls, play, pause, and stop. Very straightforward. Just to get off on the right foot, I'm just going to tap my pen on the play button, and when I do that, as you'd expect, I'm going to get a counter that's showing that the recording is underway, and I'm just going to write a little note. This is a little note. And when I'm done, I'll put an exclamation point and a line, and I'll stop. And when I do that, I can see I've got my 17 seconds of recording, and how fantastic is that? It's done. So just like on the previous generation Echo, I can now take my notebook and my pen and tap on the appropriate spot. And when I'm done, I'll put an exclamation point and a line, and there you go. I'll stop. And when I do that, I can see I've got my 17 seconds of recording, and how So there you go, just like the Echo Pen from before, and it does everything you'd expect it to do. So that's great, working completely independently, no other device involved, it's all there. So, so far, really quite identical to the previous experience that you might have enjoyed with the previous Echo Smartpen, and obviously very similar to what you might be enjoying today with the Symphony Pen as well. Now I'm going to take this pen, and we'll talk about the Bluetooth integration in a little bit. As I mentioned, that'll be probably for a second video. For now, I'm going to go and find my USB cable. Again, USB-C, I'm going to plug it into the top. And when I do, you'll get that familiar Windows sound. It connects up, and I'm going to open up my Livescribe Plus app, and I'm going to go take a look at this page. And here is the little note that I just wrote to myself. And so far, now, this experience really has been very similar to what you might previously know from a previous Echo. Now, for the first time, we're looking at the Livescribe desktop, Livescribe Plus desktop app. This is running on Windows. Your experience on Mac will be very similar. And it is a little bit different, however, from what you'll see running on a mobile device. It's also available mobile, and we'll talk about that later. But for now, we're going to talk about working on PC, specifically in my environment, what happened to be Windows. And the software that one's using to work with your Echo 2 SmartPen is the Livescribe Plus desktop. So before we get into the functionality of the product, let's think about where do you get this? And the answer is you go to the Livescribe website, you go to Resources, Livescribe Plus, and you'll see here that the code is available for not fewer than 5 different operating systems. As I mentioned, Android, iOS, and Amazon's Fire tablets, great, as well as Windows and Mac OS. So fantastic, they're there, and you go and download the one that you want. Installing it really should be super straightforward on any operating system. In my case, I have a pretty strong antivirus, anti-malware, and that actually blocked my copy of Livescribe Plus from getting installed here. So if you ever encounter that problem, there's a good chance that something of the kind, some antivirus is preventing its installation, and just pay attention to that. So that having been said, I was able to install it on my computer, and here it is. I've done a couple of experiments, as you can see. And what's important to note here is that you'll see on a number of pages this familiar idea of both black and green handwriting. When it's black, it means there's no audio there. When there's green, it means there is audio there. Now, here's this curiosity. In this environment, with the the Livescribe Plus desktop software that's used with the Echo 2 SmartPen, we have a couple of different tabs, and down the side here, it's exactly the same as these tabs across the top. It's just the navigation is identical. So here's the notebook tab, and then you'll see the calendar across the top here, and then feeds, and so on. So these things are mimicked top to bottom, left and left to right, just a question of navigation convenience. So in the notebook section, we're looking at images. We have a list of all the notebooks that we've got synced to this particular SmartPen, and in that notebook we see the pages that are there. So that's pretty handy, and you've got a way to select all, select none. You can sort in a couple of different ways here as well. So that's cool. That's very interesting. A new feature that hadn't been available in previous generations of the product is this calendar feature, so you can actually see what page got written on what day. So that's fun, and you're seeing this little note here was written today, Thursday the 24th of March. Cool. The next tab is this Feeds tab, and here's a spot where you can see the transcribed versions of your handwritten note. So as you can see, it did a great job on my terrible handwriting, but this is a little note, and you can literally take that and copy it and put it into a Word document or anything else you might want to do. So terrific. And of course, if you had a whole page of notes, they would take that whole page and you'd be able to transcribe that as well. So that's really cool right in there. The next tab is the one we're going to focus on for just a sec, and this is called the Pencasts tab that you see here. Now, with a previous version of Livescribe software, when you plugged in your Echo Pen, it would transfer the whole page and you'd see it all, and that's great, just like we're seeing here now. But if you pay careful attention, you're noticing that this particular page that I just wrote is black. It's not green. It doesn't know about the audio yet. Isn't that curious? And it turns out that when you're connecting to Livescribe Plus on a desktop, there's kind of two operations. When you merely connect the pen up, it's automatically going to go and grab the handwritten component, your handwritten notes. There they are. No further intervention required. But in order to obtain the audio file that goes along with any snippet that you've recorded, it's necessary for you to come in to this section, into the Pencasts area, and click the sync button. And you'll see that at present on this pen, there's one snippet of audio that hasn't yet been integrated into the Livescribe Plus environment. And you guessed it, that's the one that I just recorded with you a moment ago. So I'm going to go ahead and download this little snippet. It's going to bring it into this environment, and when it's done, and that's great. Now, I'll tell you that on a couple of occasions I've noticed this problem, and this I think is can't be qualified as anything less than a bug. That snippet isn't appearing right away. Now, you notice that all these things are ordered in time. I found that I kind of had to sort and sort again in order to make today's, the 24th, actually show up. It didn't spontaneously, refresh the screen is kind of what I want to say. So if that ever happens, if you're not seeing something that you uploaded and ought to be there, either refresh the screen or go to a different section and come back. It's a tiny little bug, but just be aware of it. Now here's the audio snippet, and if I press the familiar play button, there we go.
Counter that's showing that the recording is underway, and I'm just going to write a little note. This is a little note.
So there you go, and in the same way, it will, as you saw, it's transcribing from black to green and so on. So now the audio is there. And isn't that great? And out of curiosity, I'm just going to jump quickly back to the notebook section, and you'll see that now that page is green, as it kind of should have been. So just be aware that when you connect it, it's now a two-step kind of process. Your handwritten notes go in right away, but to get your audio, you just got to hit that button, and that's how it goes. Okay, so now here's probably the single most important difference with respect to if you're familiar with the old Echo and you're looking at the new Echo 2, for those people that are familiar with that way of doing things, you're aware that you could probably do not much more than a right mouse click, and you can export a page into what's referred to as a Pencast PDF or a PDF Pencast, depending what you called it. And it would give you a nice looking PDF that you could click on and listen to and all that stuff. Cool. It turns out that for now, at least, the Livescribe Plus software is organized in such a way that when you right mouse click, you can export to email or to disk, and you can, by the way, do the same thing. You're going to select a snippet that you want, and you can export here to email or to disk. I'm going to save it on my desktop. The format that's used is actually an MP4, and if you know anything about software, that is a video format. That's the format that you get when you record videos on your smartphone or whatever. So as you'd expect for video, we're going to get normal resolution or high frame rates and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm just going to show you instead of try to talk to you about it, but the bottom line is that we are creating an MP4 format, not a PDF format. Now I've had it under good authority from the folks at Livescribe that Livescribe Plus on Windows and another operating systems as well is going to support export to PDF at least a manner similar to that what we've seen before. But for today, out of the box, you have this movie format, this MP4. So we're going to click next, and you're going to see that it's going to go ahead and create that video file. We're going to let that complete, and when it's done, I'm going to press my done button. And I'm going to jump into I have a folder on my computer called Pencasts, and that's where it's gone. And here's that very newly created MP4. So I'm going to double click on that, and
counter that's showing that the recording is underway, and I'm just going to write. And when I'm done, I'll put.
So isn't that interesting? Now instead of having a PDF that you click on and so on, you have an MP4 as a video, and you can slide it kind of back and forth as you're seeing me do. That's still really very useful, and you're not kind of going backward and forward as you might have to do it on an audio cassette player that from the old days. This is still really cool, and it totally works. And what's very nice about MP4, of course, is as a format, it's universally supported. As you can see here, that was a small snippet, but still it's only 373 kilobits. It's a very small file size. You can get a lot of audio of these video files together, and it you're not going to get gigabytes of data out of recording a session in class and making notes as a student might, or a judge might, or an attorney might. So it really is very practical. But for those of you for whom sharing the audio and handwritten component like the old Echo used to do, it happens to be done today on an MP4. Now, I reiterate, I have understood that there are plans afoot to make it possible to export to a PDF format and have it behave in the way that users will be familiar with. That's great, but for today, that's how that goes. Okay, so again, we talked about the news. It's here. It's real. It's a great product. It works. You've now seen evidence of that. It really does work super well. Kind of bad news about availability. It's taking a little time to get fully available so that we can all get our hands on them. But they are coming, and certainly we at SmartpenCentral do everything we can to help you along that way. We've done a little demo of how the device works independently. We've then downloaded and installed the software, we've transferred data, and I've shown you the two-step process involved in getting the audio into the application, and then one more right mouse click gets you an exportable file, in this case an MP4. So I conclude by saying thank you very much for your attention. Please consider visiting our website at smartpencentral.com. Do consider buying that large paper bundle instead of just the product itself, because frankly you're going to need the pen and the ink and so on. If there's anything that we can do in order to provide support to you, you have questions about what you've seen, by all means, reach out to us. You'll notice that on our website, there's a chat widget, and you can just enter your name and get a conversation going either with me or one of my colleagues, and we'll be very happy to help you in any way we can. So on that note, best wishes to you and your family for all of 2022. We look very much forward to receiving your calls and expressions of interest and maybe your orders from SmartpenCentral. Have a great day. Bye-bye.